When I was little, I didn't know you could do environmental work for a career until high school. In high school, I went to a boarding school in New Jersey that had lots of really good opportunities. Um, in my head, when I thought about national parks and fantastic places and wildlife and whales and lions and other creatures, um, they were in the Bronx Zoo, where I loved to go when I was little, and on Animal Planet and National Geographic, which I loved to watch. And I knew they were there, and it seemed important to protect them, but I didn't know that I could do that until I got to high school. And I had an opportunity to take some classes about that stuff and then to actually go to some pretty incredible places in different solidified it for me, just meeting people who did that professionally in real life instead of just on TV or at the zoo. And from then on, I thought I need to do work in the environment to help protect these spaces, these animals, to help people who don't have access to these places. And from then on, as I learned more, my kind of definition of environmental work got a lot bigger. I studied wildlife biology in college because I was really sure I wanted to be a research biologist. Eventually, I did some research biology and realized, wow, I need to talk to people a lot more and just be alone in the forest a lot less. So I had to figure out other ways to be an environmentalist. And some of the other experiences I had been fortunate enough by the time I was college aged to have were working with community groups, including in New York City, the New York City Environmental Justice Alliance. So I had learned that environmentalism wasn't just whales on the other side of the world or the Grand Canyon, but also the places I grew up in New York, protecting them from pollution, making sure that people who don't have money aren't the ones who are dealing with the most pollution all the time. I learned more about the place I grew up, the Bronx, where you have highways that were intentionally built through the middle because it was communities that didn't have money, communities full of Black people and Latino people. And that was the people who the city thought should deal with all the noise and all the pollution and all the trucks and all the asthma. Both my older brothers who grew up in the Bronx have asthma because of that. So I had learned more about environmental justice and environmental policy, and I knew I didn't want to do wildlife biology anymore, but I still wanted to protect all kinds of places if I could, whether it's rivers to kayak on, places like the Grand Canyon to hike, or just everyday communities throughout New York City, which is why I ended up studying policy and environmental law. And eventually that led me to Green Latinos, where I was able to do a lot of this policy advocacy for Latino communities. And then after that to Earth Justice, where I'm in DC working as a lobbyist and working with a lot of those communities to make sure their voices are heard on all of these issues here in DC.